Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Corpus if y'all are new, obviously. But if you are contemplating joining the Lexus community, buying your first IS and you don't know which generation you should get, currently 4 of them, or well, maybe like 3.5, and you don't know which one you want to get or which one fits what you want to do, stay tuned. I'm gonna let y'all know. If y'all are new to this channel, I do a lot of build videos mainly on my Lexus IS 250, it's the second generation, and I also want to start dabbling into making videos on my automotive photography. And if y'all want to catch any of that, right here, check it out at mac.stills on Instagram. Follow me there and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll get right into it. So you want to buy an IS and you don't know which generation you want to get or which one suits you and what you want to do. Hey, like I said, there was about 4 of them, maybe 3.5, depending on what you want to call it. And let's start with the first one, the first generation IS that you cannot go wrong with at all. Alright, and this is the first gen. It's the IS 300. Now, with the IS 300, in my opinion, it's one of the best ones you can honestly buy, especially for the money. It's the cheapest one. You can find some on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, all that on the private sale market, from anywhere from like 3 grand up to, I mean, used car prices are crazy right now, but from 3 grand up to like maybe 8 grand if you want one that's like decent mileage, right? That's a very good range for if you want a project car, but know that you are going to have to do a decent amount of maintenance to get it up to par because it is going to be an older model. At least here in the US, I believe it was made from 2000 to 2005, so that's already over 15 years. All right, that's over a 15-year-old car. You're gonna have to do some maintenance to make sure it's up to par on maintenance and it could still run. And obviously it's a Lexus vehicle, it's gonna run for a good while. And with the IS 300, it's great. The engine that's in it is the 2JZGE, not the turbo model that was in the Supra, but it is a 2JZ nonetheless. And if you want a IS and you are into the tuner world and you want to modify that car, there is a bunch of different builds that everyone have done for the IS 300. There's been 1JZ swaps, I've seen LS swaps, I've seen people run turbo kits on their 2JZ. There's a plethora of stuff, performance mods that you can do for the first gen IS, the IS 300. Plus, the aftermarket support when it comes to cosmetics, whether it's body kits, lip kits, all this other stuff like that, you can find a plethora of those as well. Honestly, when it comes to the IS 300, the first gen, you can do a lot of different things for it. And in my opinion, especially for the budget, you could do everything. It has, in my opinion, the most aftermarket support in terms of cosmetics. There's actually full body kits, just BN kits and stuff like that. And you could also do performance stuff on it. You could throw a fat turbo kit on it. You can you could LS swap it. You could 1JZ swap it. You could 2JZ GTE swap it. You know, there's a lot of information on that on the internet that a lot of people have done already. So if you want an IS to really be a project car that you want to work on, that IS 300, that first gen IS 300 is a gem. It's kind of hard right now to find decent ones with decent mileage that has been taken care of, but if you can find one for a decent price, oh, jump on that. First generation IS 300 though, you can definitely not go wrong with that. So the second gen IS is kind of in a weird, it's kind of like a middle child that was kind of abandoned a little bit, kind of not looked at too much. Like, you come from the IS 300, which had BN kits and all this other wide body kits and stuff like that, performance, everything. Tuner world loved that vehicle, right? And then you move on to the second gen IS from 2006 to 2013, and there wasn't really too much performance mods or even, you know, cosmetic mods. You know, if you look on Instagram and stuff like that, a lot of us 2IS owners are running a lot of the same, you know, lips or rear diffusers or rear bumper lips, roof spoilers, stuff like that. We all run pretty much a very similar build, it's very hard to make your second gen IS unique. And in my opinion, the second gen IS is probably the best car if you just want a good looking car that you could do a few things to and keep it as a really good commuter car. You could find these cars from anywhere from let's say decent ones from like 7 or 8,000 up to like 13-14,000. I honestly wouldn't even touch the ones that are even higher than that. It's too much of a price. I had purchased my 2012 IS 250 F Sport in blue about a little bit over 2 years ago for about 15 grand, and that was a little pushing it honestly for me. But you could definitely find decent ones for under 10,000, and I did a video, I'll leave a link up here, on if you should buy second gen IS. But if you want a decent daily commuter with some performance that still looks pretty badass, look into the second gen IS. There isn't as much aftermarket support as all the other generations of IS in terms of performance and cosmetic, but there's still a community behind it. Really dope people. The people I have met through this has been amazing. But for sure, the second gen IS, I would leave it as those of you who want to decently mod a car but keep it as a daily commuter. But you could also, don't get me wrong, you could also do it up real good. There's plenty of examples, but that's where I would keep the second gen IS at. I don't know how I didn't remember to add this for the second generation. I'm probably gonna add this at the end of me talking about the second generation, but just know I just finished recording. The second gen has the ISF. Forget about a daily driver. The second gen has an ISF. .5-liter V8. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright, let's get into the third generation of the IS line. Now, with this one, these ran from 2014 to 2020, and there was a facelift in between at, I believe, 2017, which is a minor difference in terms of the front bumper. But there was a bunch of different models in the third gen IS. There was the IS 250 for a while, the IS 200T, the IS 300 that they brought back, and the IS 350. There was a bunch of different models to suit who wanted what, right? Obviously the IS 350 was still there, but the base model, they kept switching it up from the 250 to 200T to IS 300. Now when it comes to this generation of IS, in my opinion, it's probably the best overall bang for your buck when it comes to what you can do with your money. Obviously the first gen is hard to beat in terms of the versatility and what you can do. That's great in terms of the budget, but if you want a more modern car and the interior is more modern, you have better infotainment system, and it's just more luxurious in the inside, and you could still have a lot of aftermarket support, you know, in terms of cosmetics or even performance. I've actually seen a decent amount of supercharged IS 350s from the third gen, and they look super dope, sound really dope. You could do that. So obviously when it comes to the performance mods, it's kind of on par with the second gen, where there isn't too many parts for it, but there's definitely more than the second gen. I've seen people do up the third gen a lot more than the second gen, but not as much as the first gen. All right, but where the third gen takes the cake over the second gen, for me personally, is definitely on the cosmetic route. Cosmetically, you could do a lot more things with the third gen than you can do with the second gen, and you can make it look real nice. There's a bunch of different lip kits, you can find different body kits and stuff like that, wide body kits. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of different things, and they look great, they look amazing. So third generation is probably, in my opinion, the most versatile, but the price is kind of, you know, depending on where your price range is, you can find some decent ones for, you know, low 20,000, but those are probably not going to be the F Sport trim. And if you are going for the third gen, I recommend the F Sport trim just because it looks so much cleaner, and you probably can't find, at least right now, a decent F Sport 3rd Gen IS for the low 20,000 unless it has a crazy amount of miles. But definitely the 3rd Gen IS is a solid choice because it has more cosmetic mods than the 2nd Gen IS. It has more performance mods than the 2nd Gen IS. The interior is better than the 1st Gen IS. And it's just definitely a solid car. If you want a 3IS, that's who that would be meant for, but just check for the price. The price might be pushing it a little bit too much for some of y'all. I know it's pushing for me. Now let's get into the last IS on this list as of right now, which is the 4IS. Some people call it the 3.5 IS, 4IS, because it does kind of look similar to the 3IS, but for this case and purposes, we'll call it just the 4IS. And with this model, it's very new. It literally just came out this past year, and you know, this upcoming year, to add to that line, there's going to be a IS 500, which is going to be a 5-liter V8, which is going to be dope. But I can already tell, I've driven a 4th Gen IS, a white one, so compared to my 2nd Gen IS 250, that one was super fun to drive. The interior with the infotainment system and everything was super dope. That thing was super clean, and there's been a lot of different lip kits and stuff like that are in development for the 4th Gen IS. I know Nia Auto Designs, who does a lot of Lexus stuff, already created a front lip for it. I believe it's on pre-order if you want to order one. I've seen some aim gain body kit stuff for the 4th Gen IS already too. So there's definitely going to be a decent aftermarket support for this 4th Gen IS, I can already tell, and they look really dope done up. The only thing is the price range of these vehicles are, if you thought the 3rd Gen IS, which I think the 3rd Gen IS is still pretty pricey, like upwards of 30-something thousand, these new ISs more than $40,000. Now, is that worth it? Now, I'll leave that up to you if you have that type of money. I know 100% I do not. But for what the car is in general, it's a very dope car, very clean looking car, and it does seem like there's going to be a decent aftermarket support, at least in terms of cosmetics. There seems to be a lot of support for it already, so that's going to be interesting to see. But since this generation is still very new, I would honestly wait on it to see what comes out for it in terms of cosmetics and performance, especially for that IS 500 F Sport. That's going to be dope to see what people end up doing with that. But yeah, I'd wait a little bit on this. I wouldn't buy it brand new. I'd wait, see if it pops up on the used market in a few years so the price goes lower. Maybe you can cop one. But I'd hold on the new gen. We don't know enough about it yet, and there's not enough out there yet to really know whether it's going to have more cosmetic mods or more performance mods. We don't know that yet, so I'd wait on that. Just a little, wait on it just a little bit to see what we like. But yeah, that's pretty much all the generations of the IS so far that we have. The 1st generation, the most versatile in terms of what you can do cosmetically, in terms of performance wise, all that. Very dope project car. Now the 2nd Gen IS, great if you want a dope daily driver. That's the 2nd Gen. The 3rd Gen IS, in my opinion, is the best bang for your buck in terms of the driving experience, in terms of the interior, and in terms of cosmetic mod and performance mod. I think the 3rd Gen is the best bang for your buck. The 4th Gen is still a little bit new, but if you got the money to dish out like that and you want the newest Lexus, you know, tech and performance and stuff like that, then if you want to spend that money, I honestly would wait. But that's the 4th Gen. Hopefully that helped y'all make a decision on which IS generation y'all want to get or what it would suit for you. Let me know if it helped. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of stuff coming in for Lila literally in this next week, so expect a few more videos coming up on different stuff I'm gonna install on my car. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment. I'll catch y'all next time. Deuces.